You're watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Electric vehicles continue to be a hot topic in retail automotive today as OEMs make more of a push to advance their brands. On today's show, we're pleased to welcome back President of Serra Automotive Group, Joe Serra, to give us his perspective on some of the latest announcements, and we'll also get his update on his operations there today. So thank you so much, Joe, for joining us once again on the show.
My pleasure, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So last time that you were on with us, we discussed your first quarter and kind of your to-do list and the forecast for the year. Now that we're in the final quarter, can you give us an update on your operations today?
Well, operationally, like pretty much all retail automotive dealers out there, is financially very strong and quite frankly, much better than we deserve, in all honesty. And we're enjoying it and we're benefiting from it. So we've had a great first three quarters. Things are starting, looks like changing a little bit, maybe coming into the fourth, but it's still going to it's going to finish out strong and be a great year for our organization.
Now, when you made that comment, maybe better than we deserve, what did you mean by that?
What I mean by that is, obviously these are no-brainer times to a car dealership today. You know, I've got, we're sitting with, no advertising dollars, no floor plan dollars.
Right.
We're commanding grosses maybe that are above normal. And on top of it, I guess that all is great. But what bothers me is that I don't think we're providing the level of service that we should and need to our consumers, to our clients, both sales and service. We're doing things, say, that we're not allowed to do things, say, like loaner vehicles. You know, yeah, you can provide some, but people have to wait for it because our fleet's been diminished.
Sure. For
service. Consumers not, having to wait for vehicles, or sort of, quite frankly, taking what we have coming in versus I don't think we're meeting their needs. And that's fine for now, but long-term, that's not healthy, I don't think. And it's not the way we grew up accustomed to doing business.
Sure. Do you think maybe through all of this, the consumers' expectations have changed and have adapted to this new way of doing business where they get it? They're like, hey, if we don't have a loaner car from you, we get it. There's a shortage of vehicles. We're just happy to get our vehicle serviced. Kind of like the expectations that people have now through Amazon, where they're like, we don't need to see a sales associate. We just want that box at our front door.
Yeah, I think there's two things here. I think they've obviously have learned to live with the reality of today, and they've accepted it, just like we've accepted it when we go to restaurants today. Maybe the level of service isn't what we're accustomed to, but we accept it because they're short staffed.
Right.
So, yeah, the consumers accept it. Doesn't make it right.
Right.
And but has there been some potential long-term benefits from this? I do think there has. I think consumers that are saying, hey, we can order and wait for a vehicle that meets our needs and specs, and I don't need to buy it off a lot. I want to do more online. I don't need to really visit and see. So those are all things I think long-term have some benefits. But I don't want to kid ourselves as retailers. I don't think this is a healthy environment from a standpoint. Our clients deserve more. They need to be better. And it's not that we're not providing it because we don't want to. We just can't.
Right.
And I think it'll be better days are ahead for both the consumer and us as we can get back to somewhat maybe not where we were, but a more balanced environment.
Sure. And do you think that comes back with increased inventories that are available to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it does. Obviously, we have some new waves hitting us with inflation and interest rates and things that are changing some of the waters and tides right now. But no, inventory, once the supply comes back up and picks back up, we'll be able to get back to more normalized business.
Sure. Since you went there with the inflation and interest rates, there is a strong inflation. Interest rates are increasing. Gas prices are still pretty high. Is that a concern of yours as the owner of a large dealer group?
Yeah, it's no doubt it's on my mind, but sounds crazy, but I'm a big believer and I focus and worry about things I can control.
Yeah.
And that's way above my control. So I know that it's happening.
Sure.
And so we have to be aware of it and then make whatever adjustments. But we've been through it before.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I'm hearing or seeing or that's happening that I have not dealt with in the past.
Sure.
And we'll make the necessary adjustments. But it's out there. Obviously, I'm aware of it, but it's not a concerns. I don't know what the right word is.
Yeah.
But it's top of mind.
Some of the analysts that I talked to at Bloomberg and Cox Automotive have said the demand is so strong still and will remain strong well into 2023 and 2024 that even with some of the headwinds that I just mentioned, it's still going to be an incredible time for auto dealers in retail. Do you see that as well?
Well, I think you mentioned 2024. That's too far out for me, I think, to guess.
Yeah.
But it appears that it's going to make it through this fourth quarter and into 2023, where it tails off or where it's changing a little bit.
Yeah.
It's changed this last 30, 60 days. So I don't know if it's going to be that long.
Okay.
If it is, again, we've been blessed.
Yeah.
Really unusual times.
Have you seen the daily supply of vehicles increasing at your stores from 0 to 10 or 15 or so on?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
It does vary a little bit by manufacturer. Still a few manufacturers that are struggling, but it's definitely, we're seeing more inventory on the ground than we previously. And we're seeing there's some adjustments in the used vehicle market as well.
Sure. Speaking of OEMs, you have 3 Ford locations, I believe. Give us your thoughts on the franchise's plan, or I should say the OEM's plan to sell EVs, and live up to the demands that Ford is making. There's some dealers that I talk to that say, what are they thinking? And we're not in a position to make that commitment. And others have said, kudos, let's go. We got to own this market. And these are great plans that Ford has rolled out. Where do you stand on that?
Well, Ford's an interesting one in that my understanding, what they've explained to me is that they're going to play in both arenas, both the EV and the ICE, mm-hmm. which I think is the right way to play. I think I wouldn't put all my chips in one or the other.
Right.
So they've made a commitment to electric. They made a commitment to stay in the ICE and even produce future vehicles. So I commend them for that. There are new programs that they just unveiled and announced to us. Still some things to be learned. I'm still trying to understand the cost factor that they've put out there. And I don't know if that's just a placeholder, but it seems high for the amount of chargers and the type of chargers they're asking, but it's going to be whatever it is, whatever the market is for those. Then there is other manufacturers that are going all EV, mm-hmm. and that's a riskier move.
Yeah.
And that one gives me a little bit more, I'm a little bit more cautious of that one, but I own the franchise and we're going to play.
Yeah.
We're going to play right with them. But if I was running a manufacturer today, I would be in both arenas if I could financially afford to do so.
Yeah. Someone that I just interviewed recently has got 3 Toyota stores, and he said to me, Toyota's getting it right because they're walking this through. They're saying, hey, wait a minute, let's see where this takes us. We'll have EVs, we'll have hybrid vehicles, and we'll have ICE vehicles, and we'll let the consumer decide. Can you see where, I guess it sounds like maybe you're in that camp as well. If you were
so in business, I'm a big believer in business that if there's some huge advantages to being first to the market, then Tesla, I think, was first to market, and there's some huge advantages.
Right.
If you're not first, or if there's not really huge advantages being second, third, I think it makes some sense to sit back and wait and see how it all plays out, then get it right. When you enter, you're entering a market that you understand, and I think you can make up ground rather fast and quickly.
Right.
Again, first to the market does have advantages. Second, third, fourth, I think so I do agree. It's playing extremely well and smart. And they're also playing it long term. So they're looking at it long term.
Sure. Hey, Making Headlines is another franchise of which you have 6 locations, and that's Buick. They've been offering buyouts to U.S. dealers who don't want to make investments and upgrade to electric vehicles. Can you give us your sense there at Serra on these plans?
Yeah, they're similar, but there's other manufacturers also have done the same thing. And my take on it, and so far none of our Buick stores have been approached that I'm aware of yet by the manufacturer. But I do know Buick friends of mine, dealer friends, have reached out. They have been approached and asked, are they going to consider taking a buyout and giving their franchise back? And my take on it, could be all wrong, but it looks like the manufacturers, I'm basing this, Cadillac went through this.
Yeah.
Jaguar's going through it now. But it seems like the market, if you're in a metro market, the manufacturer, in this case, Buick's probably not too excited to offer you a bunch of money to get out.
Yeah.
But if you're in a fringe market, they're receiving larger dollar amounts to consider.
Okay.
So it becomes an individual business decision. And ultimately, what it appears is that the manufacturer is just shrinking their dealer count. So it's going to be, if I had a fringe store selling very few Buicks, and if they offer me a bunch of money, it's a business decision.
Yeah.
You make it. And it's also emotional. We're funny, but car dealers are weird people. We're sometimes we always don't do the right business thing. We get emotional about something. I've been a dealer for 50 years.
Right.
It'd be a Buick. Well, it's a different. You just got to set your emotions aside, make a business decision,
Yep.
and do what's best for your company, your family. But it's happening, and my take on it is it's what Buick thinks they need to do to shrink the dealer body, quite frankly.
Sure. Hey, switching gears once again, the marketing, where does that stand today at Serra? Are you doing a lot less marketing of these vehicles because you can't get them than you were in 2019, or what's your approach on that?
So it's interesting. I run and we maybe talked about this in the past, I run a very decentralized model. So I have business partners that have ownership in the stores. So they're making that decision. It's not a corporate decision on what you should or should do. And in looking at let's say I have 20 some partners, and looking at them, they all have different opinions. Some of them are completely out of the market. They're obviously digital. Yeah. Others are there, but they're in there to keep talking about their brand, who they are.
Okay.
It's not really a particular vehicle or price point. Right. They want to keep awareness out there. Okay. And I don't think there's no right or wrong to this. I think if you can afford and you've got a big enough brand that you want to keep it out there, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. So I don't go completely dark's the answer.
Yeah, for sure. And then in terms of acquisitions, acquisitions have been so hot over the last few years, some crazy prices being paid for dealerships. I'm sure you probably get a call every week. Are you ready? Are you ready? Or will you sell us one of your stores? Are you buying stores? Is that something that we'll see in 2023 with Serra Group? Will you be acquiring stores?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the funnest part of the job, quite frankly, and it's one that I've spent most of my time on is looking at how to allocate the capital and make acquisitions. And my driving force is to give people opportunities, quite frankly. We have some amazing associates in our organization that have worked their life for us to help us grow. Now it's their chance to reap the benefits.
That's
love giving people opportunities. Yeah. Love that. And they're out there. You do have to be selective. This past year, we acquired a Ford store and then a Buick GMC store. They happened to be in markets that we were in. Right. And then just yesterday, I met with a group of associates at a store we're going to be acquiring at the end of the month, but it hasn't been announced yet. So that would give us 3 for the year. We don't have a target. It's just what makes sense. Sure. And as long as we have the people, it's really a people business. So as we have the people to manage these opportunities, then we're all in. Right. And knock on wood, so far we've had the ability to either grow or recruit or to have the personnel to operate these stores.
That's the key. Yeah. Are you finding that you're able to run the stores today in 2022 on less headcount than you were in previous years, or I should say prior to COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably because mainly due to hours.
Okay.
If you look at the hours of a store, and again, that goes back to our ability to take care of our clients. We've shrunk the hours of some of our operations because of staffing or just, there's no vehicles, so
right.
You don't need a showroom open. So because of hours, our head count has store level in some cases has decreased. It's not as low as it was. It's building back up.
Okay.
And like I said, I think once production gets back, we'll be back to business as normal to some degree. Won't go back 100%, but it's going to get back to 85, 90.
Right. You think when things start to fill back up, the shelves start to fill back up, or in this case, the lots, that we're going to see a decrease in the overall gross profits come back down? You think we'll be, if we're having this conversation 5 years from now, or is it another race to the bottom on these deals, or are we going to do that?
Sadly, I do.
Yeah.
But that's our business. I mean,
it was a good run, but like I said, we've been fortunate and blessed, but this isn't reality. Yeah. It is interesting to me
the number. It is great.
That's right. We run consumer focus groups now here at CBT News. We talk to these people from all over the country and how comfortable they are by going into a dealership and paying sticker price. And it's interesting when I ask them about that, they're like, well, yeah, you kind of have to do that now. So that's what you do. And man, that is a different animal than what we saw in previous years, because it just didn't happen. But they seem to be okay with it. And you know what one of them mentioned in my last focus group, he said, well, keep in mind, yes, I paid sticker price, but I keep getting called for the vehicle that I was trading in, and it's worth all kinds of money right now. He said, so I see the correlation there. If I'm going to pay sticker price, at least it's on a vehicle that's going to maintain its value, rather than driving it off the lot and it cost me $8,000 to do that. So it's interesting to see that how a consumer views this.
I give them credit because and they're exactly right. If they have a trade-in, they're seeing that value going up, so they can sort of justify the other. Similar to, I guess, homes. We're paying top dollar for homes, but we sell ours for top dollar, so it's very similar. Where it's going to get into the used car market, and I do sense it's changing recently. When that starts to fall, if this doesn't, we might have some issues. But that's what the future is going to hold for us. That's the fun part about this business, is navigating all that.
No question about it. No, it's every day is a new day for sure. So Joe Serra, president of Serra Auto Group, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We very much appreciate when you come in and share your perspectives on the industry, and much continued success to you and your organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for all you do for our industry.
You're welcome. I love doing it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Inside Automotive with Jim Fitzpatrick.